Farmer City. And Sue, welcome into the program. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thanks for asking, and thanks for making time for us as always. It's great to have you on the program and back with us once again. And Farmer City is hopping this summer, Sue. I know you and I caught up not that long ago. Some unfortunate news regarding your renovated and beautiful community pool. Just for folks out there that maybe missed that news, give us the reminder. What's going on there?
Sure. Well, just like nationwide, we're experiencing some lifeguard shortages. So, we've had to close a few days or have some reduced hours, but we're trying to make it work for the public and hopefully already discussing strategies to address it for next year.
So with that said, what is the status of the pool this year? What are you able to offer to the community? When can they take advantage of this nice pool that you've renovated?
Well, it's generally open 12 to 7, but we have had a few days like yesterday that was only 12 to 5. Today it's actually closed because we don't have enough lifeguards. On the city's Facebook page, we did list the dates that right now that we know of that are going to be closed. There's a couple more coming up. I'm looking it up right now. Sorry, I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah, so today is the 14th. It'll be closed the next 3 days, unfortunately. I think a group of lifeguards took a senior trip, and we just didn't have enough to cover.
I see.
But we're looking at August too. We may close around the time that school starts, and we will be issuing some rebates or refunds to those who had season passes. We just got to figure out how many days they missed out of the season and then kind of prorate it from there.
I see. Very good. So now remind us, Sue, if I'm not mistaken, when the pool is open, you'll kind of have that information available on social media. Am I remembering that right?
Yes. We have it listed in a couple different places, and then we try to post again on Facebook and then also at the pool itself, and they can always call before they come over.
Sure, very good. So be a part of that. Now, do you have to be a community member, have an address in Farmer City to use the pool there?
No. Actually, we have a lot of people that come from around the region. We have a resident rate and a non-resident rate, and the resident rate's $5 a day. The non-resident is $7 a day. So everybody is welcome.
That is super affordable.
Yeah, I thought so, especially for all the improvements we made.
Yeah, and remind us of the improvements that you've made, Sue.
Yeah, it was a $1.6 million renovation we did last year, and we have a new zero entry pool that's kind of like when you enter the ocean from the beach, nice slow slope, and we have some water features. We got a new water slide, all new concrete. The whole big pool was redone, the surface on the inside, and yeah, it looks really nice.
Give us some background on this, Sue. Talk a little bit about kind of when you started talking about this, what the need was, how you raised money for it. Can you give us some of that information?
Sure. A few years ago, we started having issues with like our filter system, but it was, would you believe, from like the 70s and 80s, because the pool is that old.
Wow.
And so the health department, the state health department said, look, if you're going to start fixing things, you're going to have to fix the whole thing. You can't just piecemeal it. So we thought, well, we better, look at then redoing everything. And so we said, well, if we're going to redo everything, let's do it right. Let's make it exciting and interesting and bring it into the 21st century. And so that's how we ended up with this design. And the money we actually borrowed from ourselves, used a little money from our savings, and we're slowly paying it back, through the general fund. So that worked out well, and we got it done. We did get hit by COVID, just like everybody else. We were going to start in 2020, and everything got pushed back because nobody was going to work with COVID going around. But it got completed at the spring of last year, and we're good to go.
Very good. So that's very exciting stuff going on in Farmer City. So, and again, Sue, how do folks just kind of keep up with the latest on the pool in terms of like when it'll be open? And let's say maybe there's youth out there or individuals out there that would like to be a lifeguard. How do they become a lifeguard to maybe give Farmer City a bit of a boost?
Yeah, we'd love that. Unfortunately, you do have to get certified, and that's the hard part.
Right.
Because some of the YMCAs in Clinton or in Bloomington or Champaign, they only offer classes a couple times in the summer or spring. And so if you miss it, we kind of
got to wait.
Right.
Yep.
And there is a cost to that. And that's one of the things we're evaluating for next spring is to see if we can help people afford to get certified. Right now, what we've been doing is we reimburse the lifeguards at the end of the season for part of their fee to get certified. But I think this next year we might be looking at maybe offering a class at a reduced rate or something that makes it more affordable so we can get some more candidates.
Well, and I tell you what, that also improves access. Maybe an individual can't drive to Clinton or Bloomington or Champaign, wherever the case may be. If that's available right in their backyard, maybe they're more apt to want to be a lifeguard for the summer.
That's very true. That's a good point. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
So we're hoping to drive some more interest by that, trying to eliminate that barrier.
Yeah, well, hopefully we can get there for next year. But in the meantime, again, you mentioned follow the Farmer City Facebook page or call City Hall, correct?
Yeah, City Hall or the pool. And you're going to ask me for that phone number, so let me look it up while we're talking. And
sure, I'll just remind, while you find it, Sue, I'll tell you what, let's remind folks that Sue McLaughlin is the administrator for Farmer City. She's our guest in this segment of the WHOW Morning Show, which is streaming to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Sue, did you happen to find that number for folks to reach out about the pool?
All right, it's 309-928-9841.
All right.
And the typical hours, again, are noon to 7. So just call after 11. Usually staff is there by 11. So.
All right. Very good. Sue McLaughlin with us once again, administrator for Farmer City. Sue, what else is going on in Farmer City this summer? What's happening for from the city's perspective?
Well, we have some more fun recreation news. We have a nearly $300,000 playground that's going to start being installed next week. That is located out in front of Prairie Ridge Subdivision, which is on the far southwest side of town off of Route 54. And it's been sitting there, and I know residents have been a little bit impatient waiting for it to get installed. Just like everything else in this economy, we've been waiting for workers to be available. But we were told that they would start next Monday. And so that's going to have two large features, one for kids, like toddlers to about 5 or 7 years old, and then a bigger feature for kids over 5 to 7. And it's also going to have some swings and a cool feature, a tire swing. I don't know if you've seen that, where it's a standalone and it's got a great big tire swing in the middle of it. And you can load up with your friends and swing around just like you would do, out on a farm.
Oh, no kidding. That's great. Now, is this replacing replacing existing park equipment?
No, actually, this is all brand new. This is something that's never existed. It's going out there's a medical clinic out in front of Prairie Ridge, and it's going just west of that. And this was something that was contemplated when the subdivision was built 20 years ago. And it's just, unfortunately, kind of been put off. But we're finally getting it done. That's
great. So when do you anticipate that being done?
They said it would take a few weeks. The surface is that different, rubbery, spongy, bouncy surface. It's an installed surface is what they call it, or poured surface. It's not like rubber chips or mulch. And so that takes a little bit of time. But they said just a few weeks.
All right. So look forward to that. Now, is this courtesy of a grant? Did the city budget for a new park? How did that work?
This actually was paid for by TIF funds. That's tax increment financing. That area is in a TIF. It's been in a TIF for 20 years. And so since it was contemplated as part of the creation of the TIF, we were able to use TIF funds then to fund it.
That's fantastic. So another great recreation resource in Farmer City. With all these efforts, Sue, talk a little bit about, I guess, about the recreation facilities in Farmer City and the emphasis on those. Why the emphasis? How would you rate where you're at? And, after all these updates and upgrades, how about some of those things?
Yeah, that's our goal. It's funny that you bring it up because one of our goals is that we feel that we are a recreation hub in this area. I mean, when you think about the things that we have to offer, everything from the Farmer City Raceway to the BMX track, to the baseball fields, to the skate park, to the pool, the other parks, and then Liquid Edge nearby, Clinton Lake nearby, we really are a great recreational hub. And that's what we're trying to build on. I'm sure you've heard the term quality of life. So that's something that we're trying to build to, bring people to come and live here and visit here because of the great things that we have to offer. Because then when they come, maybe they shop, maybe they'll have a meal. And that's what we're trying to build on.
Sure. And I don't know if, I've had Kurt Homan from the DeWitt County Development Council on. I'm not sure if you've had any conversations with him or anything, but I know one focus for him is, that quality of life component that you're talking about, and, drawing people to Farmer City, young people to Farmer City particularly, and, working on things like a grocery store. You talk about recreation. Obviously, Farmer City has a great school system with the Blue Ridge district there and all of those things. Those are other components of quality of life that Farmer City really feels like they're starting to hone in on. Is that fair? Is that fair to say, you think?
Yes, I think so, because there's other things like you just said, whether it's the downtown has become a priority for the council. We're going to start trying to do some new things there, as well as sidewalks. We're about to finish the sidewalk master plan, which is going to help us set aside projects. Two of the big projects we're looking at is extending the sidewalk down 54 to connect to Dollar General and Casey's, as well as a sidewalk that'll take people out to South Park. And so those are big projects that we're putting on our 5-year schedule. And that's part of quality of life, is the ability to either ride your bike or walk around and get to those stores that we're hoping to build on.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of focus on those things in Farmer City. And Sue, I'll tell you what, let's take a time out. I know you're working on some strategic planning. This conversation could segue us to that nicely. But again, how do folks learn more about the city of Farmer City and all the things you have going on? Where do they go? Who do they call? Maybe even Facebook or social media links. How about those?
Yeah, like I said, we have a Facebook page, City of Farmer City. Should be pretty easy to find. We also have a website. It's easy, cityoffarmercity.org. And then, if you live in town, we have Code Red, which I was going to ask you to promote. So this is my opportunity.
Yeah, sure. Code Red. Tell us real quick about that.
Yeah, that's this thing where you sign up to get something either on your mobile phone or your landline, where when things are going on, you might get a text message or a phone call. And it could be, hey, your garbage is going to be late being picked up, or there's a boil order out there, or you'll even get notice when there's a tornado warning, those kinds of things. So you can sign up on our website, or we have sheets. They can come in and pick up a sign-up sheet here at City Hall.
All right, very good. Again, Sue McLaughlin is the administrator, very good. Thank you. Manager for Farmer City in DeWitt County. She's our guest on the phone. More to come on the WHOW Morning Show. WHOW.
Your own home without the maintenance. If you're 55 or better, a beautiful Liberty Village villa could be yours. This is Erin, and I invite you to come take a tour of our move-in ready villa. Click the Liberty Village icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
Simply the finest. DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
If you're looking for local hunting and fishing information, then join us for Central Illinois Outdoors with me, Jared White, Sundays at 8 a.m. here on WHOW. Every weekend, we'll offer detailed local fishing reports from professional guides. We'll swap stories with local celebrity sportsmen, and I'll invite you to share your stories as well. Central Illinois Outdoors with Jared White, every Sunday morning at 8 on all WHOW platforms and on demand at CentralIllinoisOutdoors.com. Brought to you by Bob Ridings in Pana and the Clinton, Illinois Chamber of Commerce and Tourism Bureau.
Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, police blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more is DeWittDailyNews.com. Since 2008, DeWittDailyNews.com has delivered fresh, online content to internet readers. From the City Council, to School Board, to the County Board, and more, DeWittDailyNews.com covers the local news you expect from the area's #1 local news source, and it's all absolutely free. Now you have even more ways to access DeWittDailyNews.com. Whether you're at your desktop, laptop, tablet, iPhone, or smartphone, DeWittDailyNews.com is delivered to all those platforms. That's right. It's even there on your iPhone and smartphone. The same local news, weather, and sports that's on the full-size edition is on your iPhone and smartphone just by going to DeWittDailyNews.com. If you haven't tried it, why don't you Go to Central Illinois' leading online source for local news, Police Blotter, for the record information, obituaries, and more on your desktop, laptop, iPhone, or smartphone. DeWittDailyNews.com.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, a good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube. It's brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Sue McLaughlin is the administrator for the city of Farmer City. I'm sorry, the manager for Farmer City in DeWitt County, joining us on the phone for this morning. So I apologize. I keep botching that. But at any rate, we left off kind of transitioning ourselves into strategic planning. Talk a little bit. I know this was a recent kind of one night or one day affair for the city council. Talk a little bit about what you did, where you went, and maybe some of the details of what came out of that planning session.
Sure. We met Tuesday night at the high school library. We tried to get away from City Hall to just, clear the mind. And we just met as a council with a consultant, Northern Illinois University Center for Governmental Studies. And they helped us do a strategic plan back in 2018. And so this was a refresher to, look at what we've accomplished since 2018 and then refresh the goals to say, okay, now what are we working on? What are our priorities?
So talk a little bit about the 2018 strategic plan, what it looked like, what you accomplished, and we'll kind of go from there in terms of, transitioning to an updated plan here. Tell us about the 2018 plan.
Yeah, that was a much bigger deal. They'd never done a strategic plan. So we had public focus groups. We did surveys. We involved the staff as well as the council. So that was quite a big deal. That was a multi-day, multi-month project to really evaluate where are we at and where do we want to go. And so we set short-term and long-term goals. We also what they call complex and routine, which ones are harder than others. And so we set some priorities and we've done quite a bit since that time. So it was time to kind of refresh and start over.
Now, the 2018 plan, had it been some time, prior to that a strategic plan had been put in place, or has Farmer City been pretty good about, keeping these plans updated and moving forward and such?
No, unfortunately, from anyone's knowledge, it had never been done before. So it was really good to, have a starting place.
Right.
Okay, we've never done this before. It's time to start setting some goals and getting things accomplished.
Now, what were some of those goals? What did you accomplish?
Well, there were quite a few. It was interesting coming out. Obviously, their priorities were a lot of infrastructure priorities. Water main is an ongoing issue. Sidewalks, just like we talked about earlier. Wastewater treatment, capital improvement. We own 20 acres out on I-74. They want to get that, developed. And so it was a lot of those different things. A lot of things were tied to infrastructure.
For sure. So looking forward to that, or looking at that, as you talk about the 2018 plan, updating it now in 2022, did I miss anything in terms of what you accomplished, things that happened out of that 2018 plan, Sue, that I missed that you want to highlight before we kind of dive into the 2022 plan?
Yeah, it's funny because I do an annual report every year and I post them on the website, and I added it up, and we've spent more than $4 million improving infrastructure in the last few years. We've done multiple city blocks of complete reconstruction, new water main, new sewer, new curbs, new sidewalk, new road, 17 new hydrants in town. We extended all the utilities across 74. We've done hundreds of thousands of dollars of work on water main, water treatment plant work, wastewater treatment plant work, new sidewalk. We had gotten a grant, and now you can walk on a sidewalk all the way from Route 54 to the high school over on the southwest side of town. Just lots and lots of things.
Sure.
But I was surprised myself when I added it up.
Wow, that's great. That's great. Well, it shows the commitment to, executing that plan, not just letting it kind of sit dormant and, just be a, piece of planning in writing. You actually executed it, which is great. Which means when you put together a new plan in 2022, perhaps there's some excitement around that because of what you accomplished. What's on the 2022 plan, Sue, that's of excitement to you?
Well, it's still underway. Obviously, we just literally met Tuesday, but some of their priorities that kind of bubbled to the surface is downtown. I think that's going to become a priority. Cleaning it up, keeping it developed, trying to, bring businesses and bring people downtown. The I-74 property is still a priority, trying to get that developed because we really think that that's going to then provide some funding to help downtown and the rest of the city. Housing, we want new families, we want new homes. We've got some land around town, but we got to figure out how to work with those property owners. So trying to bring some new housing to town. And then, of course, infrastructure. Just continuing the good works that we've been doing.
Yeah, can't focus on infrastructure too much. No question about it.
No.
Sue, well, I got to let you go, unfortunately. How do folks, again, follow along with all things happening in Farmer City?
Again, City of Farmer City Facebook and cityoffarmercity.org website. And you can always call City Hall if you have a question.
Very good. That is, again, Sue McLaughlin, manager for Farmer City in DeWitt County, our guest on the phone for this morning. The morning show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Network news on the way on the WHOW Morning Show.
WHOW.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. There's more evidence that the cancer of inflation has spread to every corner of the economy. The Labor Department is out this morning with the Producer Price Index for June, that measure of inflation before it reaches the consumer level. Saw wholesale inflation soar 11.3% last month. That was compared to 1 year earlier. President Biden is assuring Israel's prime minister that the U.S. is committed to Israel's security and will make sure the Jewish state can defend itself by itself. Of particular concern is the prospect of a nuclear-armed Iran. Israel's prime minister says the only way to keep that from happening is to commit to the use of force if necessary. On Wall Street, stocks are sharply lower. Right now, the Dow is down 500.